Hello and welcome back. My name is Amanda Zarati, and I am here to bring you technical theater elements that you can use in your classroom, simple and effective ideas. Part one is going to be focused on talking about the production team, defining technical theater elements, discussing theater safety a bit, and talking about how you can choose which technical theater elements to focus on in your classroom. Part two is going to be where we actually dive into some activities that you can use in your classroom related to technical theater. So we're trying to stick to simple, effective, but also fun. All right. Here we go. Before we begin with our students diving into technical theater and all of the elements that come with it, we want to talk about the production team. So then the students are understanding why who all these people are and how they all fit together, and just understanding that a production doesn't just happen, overnight. There are several people that are involved in making a production be what it is. So we've got the director, that's you. We also have our stage manager, assistant director, stage, prop, costume, makeup, sound, light, publicity, and house crew. So all of these people make up our production team. And when we're diving into technical elements of theater, we're focused on really these five things here. So, reminding your students that technical theater is everything that happens behind the scenes to make a show great. When we're focused on costumes, that's going to be any outfit that's worn by the actor in the production. Costume can also include accessories. For me personally, I like to pair costumes with makeup when it comes to activities because those two are going to complement each other. When it comes to lights, we're talking about the illumination of the actors and the acting areas. So it's going to help us tell the audience. Help them understand location, time, and mood. And we need to see the actors, right? When it comes to props, we want our students to understand that stage properties are anything that's handled by the actors or things that we might use to dress or decorate the set. When it comes to sound, we're talking about that artificially produced sound effects or the music. And we're also talking about our mics when we use the mics to amplify our voices to be heard. When we're talking about set, we are talking about anything hanging or constructed to create the background for the play. And the setting is used to establish, the setting is established for the audience and the actors as well. So now that we have defined our technical theater elements, we're going to dive deeper into those. There's different vocabulary words that will come up when you're talking about these things. So just take a look at that. An activity that you can do just based off of these vocabulary words. Um, compare the different plots that are needed for some of these elements. Like you need a light plot, you need a sound plot, you need a makeup plot, costume plot, and you can compare those and why they're important. Simple activities like that. Lots of great activities that I have for you for props. Like I said, makeup, costumes, super easy with easy materials. All right. So once we talk to our students about the production team, once we cover what the technical theater elements are defined as and how we're going to talk about them in the class, we then have to talk about theater safety, right? Because while we're doing all these technical theater activities, building things, constructing costumes, constructing props, hanging lights, things like that, there has to be that safety mindset. So these safety guidelines is just basic. I got 11 of them for you. And overall, we want us to understand, and we want our students to understand the importance of theater safety, to recognize potential dangers in the theater and steer clear from that, and to practice theater safety just without even thinking about it, right? So first off, we want to respect all the tools and equipment, excuse me, and we only want to touch equipment if we've had proper training. So things like power tools, right? We don't want our students to touch those things if they have not been properly trained. Also, keep all exits unobstructed. We don't want to block exits just in case we need to get out. Number 3, put away all materials, tools, set pieces, props, and costumes safely. So you might need to practice what that looks like with your students putting things away safely. Number 4, this one needs to be plastered all over my classroom, all over the theater, in any theater with kids. students, period. Avoid running, throwing props or tools, pulling on curtains or ropes, and jumping off the stage. I don't know why, but my students just want to jump off the stage in a superhero pose all the time. So, knowing that that is a safety guideline, we can try to avoid things like that. Number 5, always ask for help when moving heavy objects. I've been guilty of not doing that. So, as people, as humans, as teachers, we're not really superheroes, right? We can do it all, but we don't have to do it all. So ask for help if something's really heavy. Don't hurt yourself, and lead by example. If our students see us asking for help, then they'll do the same when they need help moving heavy objects. Making sure our students wear proper clothing, gloves, shoes, and safety goggles for whatever activity we might be doing. No loose jewelry or hair, right? Tell them to leave the drip at home, okay? And we need hair pulled back so it doesn't get caught on anything we may be using. Number 7, always use a sturdy ladder to reach another height, okay? No, we're not stacking chairs. No, we're not stacking boxes. Okay. Maybe you did build those actors blocks, but we're not going to stack those and try to reach a really high area when we can use a sturdy ladder with someone spotting us, right? Number 8, tape all extension and mic cords to the floor to avoid tripping. 9, we're going to be aware of potentially toxic materials, have proper ventilation. If you can do whatever activity you're doing outside, do it outside, especially if there's fumes that are probably toxic, right? Number 10, keep all food and beverages out of the scene shop. Let's not bring that stuff backstage or in the lighting booth, just to avoid any spills or ruining equipment, right? We don't want to do that. Number 11, always be sure the scenery is secured and correctly braced or weighted. We've got students acting, we've got students running, jumping on this material, maybe as the actor, and we don't want things to fall when they shouldn't. Okay, so keep the theater safety guidelines in mind. And then we're going to move on to how do you choose? How do you choose which tech elements to focus on? Now, I'm going to be selfish for a minute and I'm going to ask you, what are you interested in? That's what I want you to do, because yes, we're teachers, but I feel like we're also lifelong learners and we enjoy learning new things as well. So what are you interested in? What do you want to learn? And what are your students interested in? Maybe we can meet in the middle and cover technical elements that you as the teacher enjoy and that your students are interested in learning. And then finally, I would ask you to ask yourself, what do you need for your upcoming shows? Because you can plan out your technical theater activities based on what you need for your show. And by the time your show comes, we're not rushing around to build things because you're building it in your class, or to create props or costumes because you're having students do that as well. So we're getting ready to go to part 2. In part 2, we're going to dive into some simple, effective activities for technical theater. I'm looking forward to sharing those with you guys. But before you leave me today, I do ask that you reflect for a moment. You can type in the comments if you'd like to, or you can send me a message. I want you to think about it at least. What are your non-negotiable safety rules in the theater? Also, what tech elements have you noticed that most students are drawn to? For me, I would say lights. My students that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do. They want to run the lights for all the shows. Last but not least, reflect on what element of technical theater that you are least comfortable with. And I would challenge you to do activities in the one that you're least comfortable with, because the only way to get better at something is to try, right? Is to put yourself out there and try it out. Okay. Thank you guys for being here with me today. I really hope you got something from today's video, and look out for part 2, because that's going to have all of your activities for technical theater, simple and effective activities for your classroom. Thank you. See you in the next one.